should I invest in and how much?
Ooh, I got to be careful with my sense of humor because I want to just spout off some stuff for fun. But Bitcoin, no, don't do that.
That's another question coming up.
Yeah, that's one I will have to skillfully dodge. Now I can give some general parameters though. With investing, first you want to avoid the typical. It's so easy to want to get rich quick, right? To have a big hit. Because what happens is your buddy comes up to you and he says, man, I bought this thing and look how much money I made.
Right.
And he doesn't come up and say, I lost everything before that.
Right.
Or, man, I did after the fact here. They tell you the success stories and not the horror stories. So don't get drawn in by that. And there's plenty of scripture that talks about he was wants to get rich quick, will not go unpunished, right? So guard your heart there. The boring approach to investing normally is the way to go, which is diversification. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. King Solomon, King Solomon is a great person to seek financial advice from, right? He's the smartest dude to ever live and the richest, right? But he said, give portions to 7, yes to 8, for you do not know what disaster may come upon the land, which, his phrase didn't catch on quite like don't put all your eggs in one basket. But it's the same idea. So while I can't say exactly what to invest in, the parameters are, you want to diversify. Don't put everything into one place. And be strategic about it. Somebody that's young, has a long time, they can probably go aggressive. As you get older, you tend to get more conservative. This is not an advertisement for me by any stretch, but you really do need to have someone that can partner with you with those kinds of decisions.
Navigate that. That understands it. What or who are key people to listen to for stock tips?
I would say there's not a person. Okay. Stock tips are normally just a way for the media to get people roped in, right? The stock tips, investing is almost commoditized anymore. There's not a whole lot of values. I don't feel like one person is going to do better than another. I mean, it used to be back in the day, right? We had Warren Buffett. Didn't want to say Jimmy Buffett, get those crossed up. Warren Buffett, one of the heroes of investing, and he's not able to really get any beneficial meaningful return or edge over the benchmarks. So why do we think we can? And things have changed since then. He actually used to buy companies like the certificates and go and revamp the company. It's different than what we talk about today. So I would say that the stock picking things, while it's alluring, it should be the last thing. I have this thing called building your strong tower, which is a shameless promotion of my own company's name, right?
Strong Tower.
Right. It's cheesy, but it works. But you build it in stages. The base level is what we call understanding God's plan. What is God's plan for your life? Where is He directing you? You get that foundational worldview right first, and it's going to drive everything else. Every other decision is affected by it. But as you go up that, you hit other levels. So generosity is one of them. So we need to be giving before we focus on other things. Getting the right insurances and legal documents in place. Getting out of debt. You shouldn't invest until you get the debt straightened out, by the way. That's probably a good tip to throw out there, because let's say you got a credit card charging you 29% interest. Why would you ever invest? You're going backwards. You may feel like you're going forward, but you're really going backwards. So you got to knock that stuff out. But then after that, we get into savings and investments, right? Build up your emergency fund, build up your investment stuff. But at the very top of this building your strong tower, we have this thing called speculative, right? And we even have icons for each of these items as we build. So when I'm working with clients, when I'm teaching from a ministry standpoint, I'm going through this process. And the icon for speculative is a flame, right? It's fire. There's a warning in this, okay? This is the last thing you normally do, and it could be buying individual stocks. So if you want to do that, that's fine. I do it some, but it's with my play money. I get my other stuff in place first. Now, let me show you the wrong way to do it. I had a guy one time come into my office. He wasn't a client of mine, but he had heard us on the radio back in the day, and he said, what do I do? He says, I talked to this friend of mine. He had this stock tip, and he said, man, this company is huge. There's never been a company this big to file bankruptcy before. And so the stocks, they're having some financial trouble, but they'll get it back on track. There's some logic to that, right? Well, he took his entire family's savings, their life savings, and he bought this stock. And that was Enron.
Oh gosh.
So he's right. That was the biggest company to ever file bankruptcy.
Yeah.
If that had been the last thing he went to, right,
Yeah.
it would have been okay just putting a little play money in there.
Yep.
But and when I spoke to him, he had not even told his wife yet. He had to make that long drive home. And I don't know how that went.
Yeah. I'm sure it wasn't a happy conversation.
The stock pick thing, again, you push that back. You get everything else in place first, right? And then you can go into that if you want to a little bit. But I don't have a person I would say as a good, this is the guy to talk to, whatever.
Right. Yeah.